Where do we want to begin? I'm gonna start out with the three. I'm not gonna let you. I'm not gonna let you sulk yet. Not gonna let you sulk. I'm gonna let that stew. We're gonna start
There
out.
ain't no sulking here. Ain't no. You see, I'm suited and booted. Gator blue, Gator hoodie on. I'm here. I'm here to rejoice. My team is blessed and highly favored. We're moving in the right direction. Things are finally going the way that I've been hoping for them to go. Let's get to it. Whatever you want to do, dealer's choice.
We're gonna start out with the ranked games. So you had Oregon and Ohio State. Ohio State, for as much bravado as Ohio State has, they did win the first college football playoff 10 years ago. So you have that to be able to
Does
say,
that matter?
yeah, because they're in that era. They're in the era. They won in the era. But ever since
Cool.
then,
That winning the
they've
first. I don't care about the first.
well, I mean, they could always say how many have you won, and there's that. So yeah, college football, the playoff era, it's 10 years now.
I,
So,
I get.
but Oregon won. Oregon won on a blunder by Ohio State. I have to give Oregon more credit than I did. I thought that they were going to get just pummeled by Ohio State. I think I said Ohio State is better at every position.
You did.
And the first quarter, I was like, "Oh, this this about to be a blowout." Oregon out schemed them. Now I will say, shout out to Oregon. They out schemed Ohio State and Chip Kelly, which is
Not easy to do.
surprising. That's surprising because Oregon's receivers were just running wide open the whole game. Um, but Ohio State's quarterback, I don't even know what he really does. He slides at the end of the game thinking that he was going to be able to clock it or get a chance to clock the ball in order to kick the game-winning field goal, and he ended up not doing that, to say the least. And they ended up losing by 1 point, if I'm not mistaken. So if they lose by
Yeah,
1 point,
this
it
is
is what it is, 32-31.
now there have been rumors floating around that Dan Lanning basically Jedi mind tricked them at the end of the game and put 12 players on the field, uh, resulting in a penalty that cost them 5 yards, but it ran 4 seconds off the clock. If he really did that, salute. That's real football. That's
Chess.
that's
That's
a
chess.
real strategy. Yes. If not, you are one lucky mofo. With that said, I hated to see, and y'all know how I feel about Ohio State. They can go to hell. I hated to see them lose like that though. That was a tough way to see them lose. You just knew he was sliding. There was going to be like 1 second on the clock, and then there was no seconds on the clock, and the game kind of ended unceremoniously. You just knew that there was going to be one more Hail Mary, and we're going to see this play, and then we get to laugh in their faces. They all lose. Nope. You just ran and ran out of time. Game over. The end. Kind of dry.
Yeah, it was anticlimactic for sure. I will say I don't think this hurts Ohio State as much as people think. Um, I will say Oregon, they have announced themselves as they are now, I think, number 2 in the nation.
Who they got left?
They're in the Big Ten. I'm sure
I'll
they
look
got
it
to
up.
play some people. But
Are
Oregon
you?
wins a thriller. Will Howard, this is him, as you can see, sliding with no seconds left on the clock. As they're trying to call timeout as soon as he slides. Now, I've seen so many deep dives by the Ohio State Buckeyes into he really started sliding with 2 seconds left. The slide starts as soon as he starts sliding. There should be a second left, call timeout, et cetera, et cetera. No, bro. There's nothing that you could do here. You still have to allow time for human error. They still have to process that you're sliding
Yeah.
and still have to blow the whistle and then have to call timeout. You can't do all that with 1 second.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah,
it's
I,
tight.
I, I would also say that some of that is just coaching. You have to know with 6 seconds left, you're probably not going to get another play. So you got to call a better one, and you have to communicate that to your quarterback just in case. With that said, none of us are butthurt about Ohio State. once again, they can still go to hell. Don't I'm happy they lost. And Oregon is going to win out. All they have left is Purdue. That's a win. Illinois. That's a
You
win.
ain't looked at Purdue at home against ranked teams, have you?
I'm not. Hey, Purdue, Illinois, Michigan, Maryland, Wisconsin, Washington. Do the needful. Get it done and go on home. This probably puts you at 2 or 3.
They're 2 now
in the country.
In the AP poll, they are number 2. And if they win out, I don't see anybody beating them. I don't see anybody because they do have kind of a soft schedule, but they don't have outside of Ohio State. But there's nobody to beat them now. And if they take care of business and beat them down like they're supposed to, shout out to Dylan Gabriel. Man, you look like Tua out there. All them anticipatory throws. He was throwing it before they even was out the break.
Don't tell me that. Don't tell me I look like Tua. Don't tell me. We're going to talk about him in the NFL. That's the last person.
Tua on the field
I'm
before
trying
he
to
gets
look like.
You look like Tua as a pocket passer. Is what I mean.
Now we can look at Ohio State and see what they got left here. They got Nebraska. They'll beat them. Penn State. Yeah. That's it. Penn State. Michigan is a shell of their former selves. Indiana's not it. Northwestern, yeah. This could actually.
Yeah, it's not gonna. Like I said, it's not gonna hurt Ohio State as much as I think
they play a
Big
Ten championship. They play a Big Ten championship, right?
Yeah, they don't. I mean, yeah. Top 2 teams, if I'm not mistaken.
Well,
so it'll be
that means, I was about to say, it's a high chance that you get a rematch here.
And like I said, Ohio State, because they played, again, the Big Ten, for everything that people talk about the SEC, the Big Ten now is one of them giant conferences that's top heavy.
Yo, this is the headline: Big Ten title race. 9 teams either have 0 or 1 conference loss heading into the halfway point.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. Now, Ryan Day, you're
not talking to Ryan Day.
You, sir, your seat was already hot before because you have had one of the, if not the best roster for probably the last 3 years. You had a number 1 receiver, at least one, go number 1.
You had an NFL number 1 wide receiver, not a college wide receiver 1. You've had multiple wide receiver 1s on this college team. And Ryan Day, if I was you, I would stay far away from Mike Vrabel. He has to know that there's blood in the water. He has to know that this is job for taking. And I think that, I thought that Vrabel, I think that he's a candidate for all the jobs in Ohio. I think that Stefanski may get fired because of what's going on in Cleveland. But I think that this is a better job. I would not want to take the Browns job and have to deal with Deshaun Watson. So, no, I would take this Ohio State job with way more security, way more opportunity, and, and way more control.
Yeah, if you get a defensive coach, you're going to again, it's the same thing in the pros. If you get a defensive-minded coach, you're going to have to turn over your offensive coordinator over and over again. But in terms of recruiting, I mean, they're going to stay where they are, especially if they could keep Brian Hartline. That's who you really make sure you need to keep. As long as you keep Brian Hartline as the wide receivers coach, you good to go.
Hartline has been coaching the best player on your team for the last umpteen trillion years. But he and Chip Kelly, the best thing that you could do is hit your wagon to Brian Hartline. Now, I would tell you that you should go find him a quarterback. Now, that would be advisable. Go find him.
Howard wasn't bad. He wasn't great.
Yeah, he also. If you're Ohio State and you're going to perennially be basically a top 5 team, then you're telling me I can't get a top 10 quarterback?
They have had top 10 quarterbacks. They had C.J. Stroud. They had Joe Burrow. They've had, it's just been the last 2 years they haven't had anybody.
But, and that's what I was about to say. They got to be sick losing. Like, Quinn Ewers he's the guy that you've needed.
Quinn Ewers.
He would have been
they get 5 people.
But that's the thing. You're not picking the right one consistently. That you almost at the Mac
Why you say
Brown.
that?
You
Yeah,
let
C.J.
Joe
Stroud. You can't pick somebody after
C.J.
C.J. while he's
Stroud
there.
check. But you also like Burrows never really ran the show, and Ewers never really ran the show, and you
They got
needed
beat out
those
by other people, if
guys.
I'm not mistaken. It's the transfer
Yeah,
portal quietly as kept has hit Ohio State the hardest. They lose their up and coming quarterback every year.
I don't want to hear that. I lost my starting running back to our biggest rival. You can go to hell.
So Ryan Day, I don't know if he makes
That
it
little
through.
snicker.
I don't know if he makes it through the offseason. But I mean, they're bringing in the number one wide receiver
Hey,
next
Ryan
year.
Day. Best thing I can tell you is to get your resume over to Kirby Smart.
You remind me of Mark Richt. This is a perennial Mark Richt type coach. You keep getting the number one everything, and you keep losing the big game, and you keep making it just falling short.
And then they go to the NFL and become world beaters.
What do you mean become?
That's what
they were
makes
world beaters before. They were world beaters at Ohio
But
State.
you're right. But I mean, I'm a Florida fan too, so I've seen a lot of people not be world beaters in college and then get to the pros and not be world beaters. The thing is, what Mark Richt was, they would be good in college, then they get to the pros and he'd be like, "Oh my God!" And you're talking about Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Marvin Harrison Jr., C.J. Stroud, like that. That run that he had is crazy not to equate for any national championships.
And that's what I said at the beginning. I was like, hey, they have not won a national championship in 10 years with this top 2 or 3 recruiting team every year.
Let me tell you the good and the bad of this, because there is a similarity between us and them. The hangover of Urban Meyer is tough. We are still firmly entrenched. We still looking for this no way out.
And they didn't even pick their coach. Urban Meyer said, hey, this is the guy y'all going to have. Remember he passed the sticks and just quit?
That's what you got to do sometimes. I think Caleb Williams did that with the kid at USC too. No, you're going to pick this guy. So when I get out of here, it won't be no overlap of the next guy being a world beater like me. You're going to have to find a new one.
Yeah. Yeah. So you
had you in control of your own legacy, big dog.
Ohio State got some soul searching to do. But I think, like you said, they'll at least get the rematch. They're going to at least get the rematch. Thank you for tuning into the latest episode of the Splashcast, your go-to podcast for news and discussion in the world of sports. This show is produced by Creative Logic Solutions. Whether the project is big or small, let Creative Logic Solutions help bring your vision to life. Catch our latest episodes and stay updated with the world of sports by tuning in to the podcast live on Mondays or catch the re-air on Dive Team Media Network, where you can also check out other Dive Team Media content as well. For collaboration, booking information, or any other inquiries, visit our website at www.thesplashcast.com. Every listen, share, and review is appreciated. Until next time.
What should they do? Like, follow, subscribe. Thank you, my friend. We here for it.